And days after the Supreme Court sought a response from the centre on the sedition law, today the central government was nudged by none other than the Chief Justice himself. While making some strong observations, the Chief Justice asked what was needed to retain, or what was the need, to retain a colonial law even after 75 years of independence. The Attorney General was called on to assist the court on the matter. Sources now tell Times Now that the government may be open to recasting the law, but not its complete repeal. The opposition has welcomed this development, calling it vindication of their apprehensions that an archaic law was being misused to suppress the freedom of expression.
Most of the sedition law cases registered are in the Bharatiya Janata Party government-ruled states. This is not a coincidence, but a well-thought-out strategy to completely kill freedom of speech and expression. The truth of the matter is that the British used the sedition law to silence Mahatma Gandhi, and BJP is using the sedition law to kill the principles of Mahatma Gandhi of accountability, answerability, truth and seeking answers from the establishment.
हम सब जानते हैं कि आज अगर देखा जाए पूरे देश में सैकड़ों इस तरह के केसेस हैं। राजद्रोह, सेडिशन का मतलब राजद्रोह के केस लगा के जो लोग कोई भी सरकार की आलोचना करती है, कोई नीति की आलोचना करती है या प्रशासन के कोई कदम पर आलोचना करती है, इन सब के खिलाफ बिना कोई वजह से सेडिशन लॉ इस्तेमाल किया जाता है।
Law relating to sedition has been among the provisions that are grossly abused in recent times. In fact, way back in 1962, the Honorable Supreme Court had examined this same question. But now in 21st century, whether it is relevant, whether it is serving the cause of civil society, whether it should be considered as necessary, is what the Supreme Court is doing now.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, let's go across to Shaina NC as well as, in fact, Suman Raman, who continue to be with us. But joining us, in fact, at the moment are Shehzad Poonawala, Sai Deepak, advocate with us. Zulfikar Memon also is the managing partner of MZM Legal. Joining us live also is Ansh Luthra, advocate. Let me first and foremost go across to BJP spokesperson. And Shaina NC, I want to begin by asking you, this is what the Chief Justice said today in the court. I want you to respond as to what you would say as far as the Chief Justice is concerned. He says the sedition law is a colonial law. Do we still need the law in our country after 75 years of independence? He also says, while taking off a number of dated laws of the statute book, why was this not being looked into? When he also refers to the fact that the same law was used by the British to silence Mahatma Gandhi and to suppress the freedom movement, is the law still necessary in the statute book after 75 years? Would you agree with the Chief Justice? If yes or no, why?
So we do respect what the Honorable Chief Justice has said, and yes, 75 years down, a lot of laws need to be relooked. The Centre, through the Attorney General of India, K.K. Venugopal, today appeared and said that we agree with the concerns of the Apex Court and that the Supreme Court can lay down some fresh guidelines to restrict the use of sedition provisions. Only exceptions being protection of the nation, democratic institutions, and of course, if there are certain people who want to destabilize India. And the Supreme Court was also very clear that when you have a former officer, army officer, who is questioning or rather challenging the validity of the sedition law on ground, it causes a certain kind of unreasonable restriction on freedom of expression as a fundamental right. So Tushar Mehta, our Solicitor General, clearly told the Supreme Court that yes, there can be views that agree and disagree. The Centre is more or less on the same page as the Supreme Court, and I don't think we just need to be constantly in contradiction. As I said, The only exceptions are if the state government does not find a voice of opposition palatable, if it leads to destabilizing government, if it
No, should it go, should it not go? Shaina
NC.
NC, where do you stand? Should it go, should it not go? It's a simple question. The Chief Justice says that he believes it should go. At least that's a question that seems to be coming. He's not said it in so many words, but he's indicated so. Where does the BJP and the government stand on it? That's a simple question.
As I said, and I repeat it, I think it should go with the guidelines to restrict when it comes to the provision of protection of a nation and democratic institutions. I think that I can't be more clear than that.
All right, Sumansi Raman is nodding his head. Sumansi Raman, your response.
Madhav, first of all, a law which has been misused more than it has been used, obviously at some point of time has to go. So let's face it, the Congress misused sedition law as much as the BJP is misusing it. So there is no issue on saying that one government did not do it and the other is doing it. Both of them misused it. If the law needs to remain, two things have to be done. There have to be consequences for false cases. There has to be accountability. No problem. If somebody is acquitted by the court after having been arrested and kept in prison for sedition, then act against the police who brought him into the ambit of the sedition law in the first place. So unless that is done, this will continue to be a draconian law misuse. And the second point is the act is so vague. I mean, I'll give you a term which is there, disaffection. Now, what on earth? Anything can be called disaffection. So there is no clear-cut guideline as to what somebody will have to do or say to attract the sedition law. It depends on, your interpretation of
All right.
You can.
I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And I want to bring in Sai Deepak on that note. Sai Deepak, Sumansi Raman says there's no clear definition of what is really disaffection. And I want to quote now from what the Law Commission has said. Incidentally, the Law Commission that had been appointed and had given its report in 2018 when the same regime was here. This is Justice B.S. Chauhan. And I'm quoting from it. He says, in a democracy, singing from the same songbook is not a benchmark of patriotism. One might indulge in constructive criticism or debates, pointing out to the loopholes in the policy of the government. Expressions used in such thoughts may be harsh and unpleasant to some, but that does not render the actions to be branded seditious. Now the Supreme Court appears to be reiterating the same view. Don't you agree?
In fact, let me go a step further and say that Justice B.S. Chauhan is reiterating the Supreme Court's own view from previous decisions. Okay? So this is not something that's coming about for the first time. So as far as I am concerned, there is no doubting the fact that the provision has been misused by several dramatists personally. But is that reason sufficient enough for the law to be entirely junked? I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. But I certainly agree that a certain degree of judicially induced safeguards are necessary to prevent abuse by everyone concerned. Point number one. Point number two, the fact that it's colonial is something that is being misrepresented simply because this provision was considered during the Constituent Assembly debates, subsequently discussed by the Supreme Court of Constitution Bench in 1962. Therefore, this provision has already passed muster through the annals of the Constitution after 1950. Be that as it may, the fact remains that it has been subjected to abuse across the board. Therefore, there is no doubting the fact that it requires a fair amount of safeguards.
Yeah,
assuming that the court
that's
believes
my question. Sai Deepak, I just want to interrupt you for just 30 seconds there. That's exactly the point. In 1962, for instance, we did not have the kind of terror laws that we have right now to actually act against those who may be indulging in violent acts against the state. That is one very, very, very significant difference, at least I can at the top of my mind think, and also the fact that various governments have misused this provision, as you yourself said. So then in that light, why allow the provision to continue is a question that, many appear to be asking, at least the three petitioners who approached the court seem to be asking.
May I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when the provision of UAPA is discussed, then people say, why UAPA? When Section 124 is discussed, they say, why Section 124? So it's almost as if one is being used as a pretext for the other. So let us be clear. If people are saying that there are too many laws that discuss the aspect of sedition, fine, no problem, rationalize it. But to say that the concept of sedition must be completely done away from every law, from every statute book is something that is unheard of. In fact, the very Law Commission report that you cite constantly refers to any number of jurisdictions where there is law with respect to sedition and treason. However, criticism of a government or its policy can under no circumstances be treated as criticism of the state or an act against the state. On that, the Supreme Court has said as much.
All right,
okay?
all right.
So I don't have a problem if this provision goes, but let's not say let's do away with the concept of sedition altogether from UAP or any other law. I'm with you on that point.
All right, all right. Let me bring in Zulfikar Memon. Zulfikar Memon, do you agree with Sai Deepak? Sai Deepak says that there need to be guidelines, but doing away with the concept as a whole, lock, stock and barrel, is not acceptable to him.
Madhav, thank you. It's going to be very difficult, as I understand, to bring in any guidelines because, see, the problem here is about misuse of legislation. So according to me, and at the expense of reputation, because many other participants on this show before me have said it, and I must say the sedition is a piece of archaic legislation which has been around for about 100 years. And the British, who in fact drafted this legislation in 1837 for their own personal agenda, have scrapped it themselves. At that time, it was to suppress the Indian nationals and freedom fighters. As compared to any other law, sedition unfortunately has the maximum propensity to misuse. According to me, it has to be scrapped completely. There is no room where any change can come up with. I respect what the Honorable AG has come up with today and said that, we will go back and revise it. But according to me, it is completely archaic. It has to be scrapped in total. A simple reading of this section 124A by itself defeats the sanctity and is completely contrary to Article 19. I mean, how can we live in a free country where we cannot fearlessly practice freedom of speech as guaranteed to us under Article 19 of the Constitution? How can we live in a free country where a person cannot stand in the middle of Chandni Chowk or anywhere and lawfully criticize the functioning of a particular state or a central government?
Okay.
It's not about a political party, it's governance. So regardless of being NDA or UPA, which is why the Honorable Chief Justice rightfully demonstrated the concern.
Yes, I'm going to go across to Shehzad. Shehzad, I want you to respond to him. And but before I come across to you, I just want to quickly read out for the benefit of our viewers, which are these instances that we are referring to. On the February 23rd, a Delhi court granted bail to environmental activist Disha Ravi in a sedition case, saying government could not put citizens behind bars simply because they choose to disagree with state policies. On 3rd of March, Supreme Court dismissed a PIL seeking sedition charges against Farooq Abdullah, former J&K Chief Minister, imposing a fine of 50,000. On 31st of May, the Supreme Court stopped Andhra Pradesh police from taking coercive action against 2 TV news channels on charges of sedition. 3 days later, on the 3rd of June, the Supreme Court quashed a sedition case against Vinod Dua, a journalist, citing the 1962 Kedarnath judgment. And he said that a citizen has a right to say or write whatever he likes about the government, and also adding that every journalist is entitled to protection of the Kedarnath judgment. Now, this is the experience that we've seen right now, Shehzad. And this is not one government, this is not one jurisdiction, not one state. There are multiple dramatis personae, as Sai Deepak referred to them. And given the fact that they do not withstand the test of law ultimately from a court, why not do away with this particular section?
So 3 arguments are being made, and I hope I'm not interrupted because I want to make some legal arguments.
Go ahead, go ahead.
3 arguments are that A, it is an archaic law, B, it is being misused, and 3, it is vague. Now let me put this forward before the learned lawyers on this panel. Point number 1, there are many laws in this country that are misused. A knife can be used for cutting vegetables, it can be misused for stabbing a person to death. Does that mean that we stop using a knife? Does that mean we do away with the law? By the way, 1860, the Indian Penal Code is also as archaic and is a gift of the colonial powers. IPC is dated 1860, and many of those laws were also misused or applied wrongly against our freedom fighters. Does that mean we do away with 1860 IPC? Just because the law is old in terms of its age does not mean that it's become useless, because the Supreme Court judicial pronouncement, like Sai Deepak rightly said, today, in the first year of its actually creation only, the law judge that time had said that merely the presence of violent words does not mean you are seditious. In fact, it has been so curtailed, the usage, even if you say something that is violent and that is not going to lead to actual incitement of violence, even though it is the most unheard of thing against the country, it still does not constitute sedition. This is the judicial pronouncements. Now, by the way, America has a large number of anti-terror laws, the most stringent anti-terror laws. Despite that, it has a law on treason, that is Section 18 of the United States Code 2381, which is more stringent than sedition law. Even Australia has a more stringent provision than India has in terms of sedition. So are you saying that Australia and America, which have better anti-terror laws, why do they have these seditious laws? Freedom of speech. In India, freedom of speech, unlike in America, by the way, is not absolute. It is subjected to various provisions. And by the way, let's come to the point on sedition on Congress point of view. Now, in 1951, Mr. Nehru said, let's do away with sedition law. He had so many years, and his party and his family had so many years that they wanted to actually do away with the sedition law. In fact, they brought in UAPA, and UAPA muted mutatis mutandis has analogous provisions to sedition. Now they say that do away with UAPA also. They say do away with sedition also.
Shehzad,
Arey bhai sahab, if you want to do away with it, come to power.
Yeah, I'm going to get into the.
Start doing away with it.
Yeah, I want to stick to the legal points right now, Shehzad, before we get into the political aspect of it. But you use the example of a knife, and why I find that very interesting is what was observed by the court today. Before I go across to Ansh Luthra, I'm going to just read that out. In fact, the use of sedition is like giving a saw to the carpenter to cut a piece of wood, and he uses it to cut the entire forest itself. That is the effect of this law. So the same logic that you're using was actually turned on its head by the bench today in their observations. Ansh Luthra wants to respond to you. Ansh.
I would start by thanking you for having me on your program. But I would like to quote a letter from 1922 which Mahatma Gandhi wrote, and he said that this sedition law is the prince among all political sections of the IPC, and that is because how brazen it is. And we must realize that dissent is an essential tenet of democracy, and disloyalty of nation is a very high threshold, as said by Kedarnath, the tendency test of the Supreme Court, which should not curtail the freedom of speech and expression. Now, two quick points I would like to make, which were talked about by the panelists before me. Number one, I would like to say that the process should not become the punishment. Unfortunately, under the present state, the process has become the punishment. There has been mechanical application of this law by the police officers. There have been long delay in cases. There have been misuse, though there have been very few cases of genuine use, but more cases of misuse. It is difficult to get bail, and there is highly delayed filing of charge sheet in such cases, which leads to the process itself becoming the punishment.
Quick response.
The second point I would like to raise,
I'll come back to you, Ansh. I want a quick response to that process is becoming the punishment point of view. Innocent citizens who are expressing their point of view are punished by the process, Sai Deepak. That's a very, very important argument.
And there are no consequences.
That's precisely why, in a situation where there is procedural safeguard that is missing, the court is expected to lay down guidelines. That's precisely why I started by saying that the need for guidelines is certainly admitted across the board. And here, let me just point out, it's not just with respect to sedition. From the manner of arrest to every other activity under the CRPC, despite the presence of provisions, the court has laid down guidelines over and above provisions. That's the point. Most importantly, in other jurisdictions such as United Kingdom, the Directorate of Prosecutions is given a certain set of guidelines by the court, and the Directorate of Prosecutions makes sure that across the country those guidelines are observed. That is the point.
Okay.
Therefore, the question here is, do you wish to throw the baby out with the bathwater? That is a simple question.
You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Zulfikar, when you ask for the complete repealing of Section 125A, says Sai Deepak. Your response to him?
No, I will tell you why, Madhav, and that is because I also want to respond partially to what Shehzad said. I mean, I agree to most of what he said, but when you are comparing this to many other pieces of legislation, as you're saying that law can be misused, fair, exactly. I mean, I completely agree that law is misused, but let us just read this legislation. I mean, if you carefully read the words, and that is what exactly Mr. Raman also said, I mean, having words like exciting disaffection towards the government established by law. I mean, that means nobody can, in a free state, speak against the government. That is the core problem of this act and this section, and that is the reason why this piece of legislation has to be scrapped. You can reword it. If anything, I'm completely for the fact that you need to bring in laws to protect the nation, the security of the nation.
Just one example.
I mean, if you look at the exception in Article 19, subclause 2, it's very clearly stated that freedom of speech is there. But anything to do with an act related to threatening the sovereignty or integrity of India,
Two hands going up. Two hands going up. I'm going to let Shehzad respond to this one.
But government, disaffection towards government.
Okay, quick response. We're almost out of time. Shehzad.
Yeah, there's a fundamental difference between the different sets of panelists arguing. If they're only having a problem with the way it is applied or it is used, then for that there can be provisions made and safeguards made by the Supreme Court that a sword should not be given to a carpenter. The sword should be given to a person who can wield the sword. That can be done. But now, one second. Zulfikar ji, 1 second. Zulfikar ji has a problem with the wording of the law. Zulfikar ji, haven't various judgments of the Supreme Court already defined and elaborated on every ingredient of the law? Including disaffection, what you're speaking
All
about.
right. I'm sorry, there's some breaking news coming in, Shehzad. I have to interrupt you. I'd like to thank you as well as China NC, Sai Deepak, as well as Zulfikar, as well as Suman C. Raman and Ansh Luthra for joining us on this debate.